Hey everybody, welcome to the show. We have Miss Carrie Green on today, and we're super excited to kind of dive into her story and extract some of her wisdom today for all of you. If you don't already know who Carrie is the author of a book, an amazing book called She Means Business, and also the founder of the Female Entrepreneur Association. She has built a wildly successful business for herself, and today we're kind of like dive into her mind and tinker into the details of how she made these incredible mindset shifts and life upgrades in order to call in and manifest this awesome business that helps so many women all around the world. So Carrie, thanks for being here.
Well, it's so good to be here. I'm so excited because I feel like this is the stuff that I love talking about the most. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
We love talking about it too, obviously.
But yeah, I'm all things manifesting.
Yes.
Which is kind of what, I've been a huge fan of you for a really long time. Pretty much since I started it's been like 4 years, but I had to kind of scrap my whole hypnotherapy practice because it was all in person and, doing office visits. And we moved to Las Vegas, and I thought, I don't want to rent an office. I want to be able to do it all from like my home office. And so I basically had to build an entire like online presence in a very short amount of time. And I definitely looked to you a lot in how you kind of approach things and do things. Plus, the biggest reason that attracted me to you was the whole mindset piece, because I'm a hypnotherapist. Okay. Like I that's my thing. And when you have embraced it so wonderfully and know how important it is and know how crucial it really is to building something that you love and something that you're passionate about and something that's sustainable, it was just like, yeah, meant to be. So I'm a huge fan of yours. Now, if you could, I think the best way to kind of introduce you is from your own words. So what kind of drew you to this sort of work? I'm sure it kind of evolved on its own. It wasn't necessarily the vision you had from the beginning, or maybe it was. So how did you get started, and what did that really look like for you?
So I actually had the idea for what I'm doing now back in 2008. I was running another business, which was mobile phone unlocking. It was not fun. So basically when I was at university, I ran out of money and I was like, I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And it was between like selling ice cream at Cirque du Soleil or this opportunity that came up to be a reseller selling phone unlock codes online. So I was like, what the hell is a phone unlock code? I don't know anything about phones, but it sounds better than selling ice cream every night. So I just went for it. And while in between studying, I was learning how to build an online business, and I was like Googling stuff and figured out how to set up my own website and use Google AdWords. And it was an amazing experience. And I learned that bloody hell, you can be a student living in your crappy student house and you can make so much money online if you know how. And it just really blew my mind. And so I spent a lot of time building that business. When I graduated, I continued to like build the online business. And then I reached a point where it was doing really well. I was completely financially free and I didn't know what the bloody hell to do with my life. Like I just felt so miserable and so empty and so lost. I was not passionate about phone unlocking, as you can imagine. And so I really spent a lot of time trying to think what's my purpose in life. I volunteered at an animal rescue sanctuary and realized picking up dog poo was not fun either. Wasn't quite the dream I had in mind. And so I kind of tried loads of things. I went traveling to Australia in the hope of having an epiphany, had no epiphany whatsoever. And like I said, in 2008, I'd had this idea to create a platform to bring women together, because as a woman in business back then, I felt so isolated. I would go along to like business networking events and it was like men in suits. And I was like, I do not fit in here in any way, shape or form. And I was like, where are the other people like me who are building businesses, who want to drink wine and talk about their problems? Because like at the time, I was in my early 20s and all my friends were like in London on grad schemes where they were like socializing with like their colleagues. I didn't have any colleagues, so it was just me, myself and I in my apartment where I wouldn't leave for like 3 days in a row and then I would go insane. So I had this grand idea, and I remember starting website after website after website with name after name after name, and just never had the guts to put it out there. And so this whole time, this idea hovered in the back of my mind, and it was 2011 rolled round, and it's like Jim Rohn says, like, when you have your day of disgust, it's such an amazing day, because then your life changes. And I think for me, I reached that point where I was so disgusted by myself and the fact that I was living the same year where I just was so miserable. I was living the mantra, I don't know. And I did know I wanted to live an amazing life and create success, but I was just so stuck. And so one day I was just like, I am going to turn this, like, I'm going to figure this out. And I decided that I was going to go for it with my idea to create this platform, and just not have to have it all figured out, and to not know how it was all going to work, but that I was just going to go for it and to see where it took me. I created this challenge to myself. I call it my Mission Success Challenge, and it was to see what would be possible if I conditioned myself for success. And a big part of that was realizing, well, what is success for me? What does it look like? What is my dream life? What is my dream business? And I was like, I actually have this idea I've been putting off doing for so long now. Like, it's time. Like, I step up and do this. And yeah, so that challenge was just like a big wake-up call for me, and it was the beginning of, you know, what has now, you know, followed. And back then my vision was to create the #1 platform to inspire and empower women around the world to turn their ideas into successful businesses. So I did have grand plans, but I didn't anticipate quite how it would turn out, or I mean, I hoped it would be successful, but it has been amazing. And it makes me realize how, when we get intentional about the kind of lives we want to live, we have the ability to manifest the most phenomenal things. And it blows my mind every time I think about it, to think where I was back in 2011 to where I'm at now, and the amazing adventure I've been on. And just from a single decision to decide to change my life and to get intentional about living my best life, and that changed everything. And I just wish that, like, I think that's why I love what I do, because I love imparting that message onto other people who haven't had that wake-up call yet, and to let them realize, to like go around, you know, like virtually shaking people to realize like what their lives could be like too. Because I know that if one person can do it, we can all do it, no exceptions.
Absolutely.
So.
Like we always say on the show, that was a great way to say it. Like we always say on the show, like, you don't have to just live the way you're like, you don't have to just wake up and be like, well, this is me, this is what I'm destined for. Like, all it takes is a decision that, you know, what's on the other side of me saying yes to this? What's on the other side of me, like, investing in myself, or writing the idea down, or researching, or, you know, whatever the first step is, and just then do the next step after that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And we preach it basically. Is like, you just have to decide that this is not where you have to be stuck for the rest of your life. You don't have to keep going in these circles, or, you know, feeling like you're just stuck in what is it, like a tar puddle, what's the word? Tar pit. Thank you, Brain. But you just have to decide. And that's so great that you brought light to that, because yeah, it's absolutely so true.
Yeah, so that was the beginning of my journey with FEA, and the start of it all.
And look at it now.
Did you have like an inkling that it was going to be as big as it is and as big as it's becoming, or has it just like surpassed your wildest dreams already?
I think a mixture of both. Like,
Mm-hmm.
It never fails to impress me and surprise me and just blow me away that I took an idea in my head that for 3 years I was too afraid to do, and have turned it into multiple millions in terms of revenue. Like, that blows my mind, because I remember being in like 2009 being sat on webinars with people like Frank Kern and like really old school internet marketers, listening to them say about how they were making this much money and this much money, and I'm like, you're so full of crap, like what? And you know, like, there's a part of me that just thought whatever, but then there was also a part of me that thought, is this possible? Like, can you really do this? And obviously I'd experienced success with an online business from the phone unlocking stuff, but like, I don't know, it also kind of felt like can you really make money doing something you love? Like, can I really create success trying to just inspire and empower people and share this message of something that I'm so passionate about? And so I feel like, on the one hand, like I said, I wanted to build the number one, the biggest platform for female entrepreneurs. That is what I set out to do. But the reality of experiencing and achieving some of these big things, like being a Hay House author and speaking on Hay House stages and, you know, doing TEDx talks and all that stuff, and, you know, building a multiple 7-figure business, like all that stuff never fails to amaze me. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a mixture of both.
Really. Yeah. I really liked in your story how you shared that you were able to make money and become financially free, but you still like weren't happy or fulfilled. Because I feel like so many people are like, well, I just need to manifest the money. Like, it doesn't matter how. Yeah. Like, even if I just win the lottery, or even if I inherit this much, it's like, do you guys realize that you literally have like no fulfillment in that? Like, the whole reason why your business is so fulfilling to you is because you actually created it like from scratch. I feel like that's a huge part of feeling how you think you're going to feel when you have this money that you say that you want. Like, why do you actually want it? It's not just for the money. You can make money doing so many different things and still be miserable and still not be happy.
We've like been trained to feel like it's a choice, right, between happiness or abundance, or like passion, or like having a lot of money. Like if we, and you're absolutely right. You said one of your biggest fears was like, could I really make money doing something I actually like to do? And that's so common. Like, I know so many people who have the same fake choice in their head where they have to choose between money or happiness. Would you say that's one of the biggest things that kind of held you back from starting the business in the beginning?
I think so. And also I think the other thing was that it felt really vulnerable. Like, the first business was me hiding behind phone and lock codes. It wasn't me, it was the service that I was providing. Whereas the FBA stuff was me showing up, sharing a message that felt very personal. And so that was a scary transition to be visible. And it was like that whole thing of like, oh my gosh, what if like my friends see me doing this, or people see this and like are like, what the hell is she on about? So I think it was like that whole fear of like being judged on some level, or just people thinking it was really ridiculous. I think that kind of frightened me for a really long time. But, you know, it's funny because I've been doing loads of calls lately with people, and the thing that comes up so often is people saying, I've got this idea, this idea, this idea, and they are trying to figure out which idea will make them the most money. And I think that, funnily enough, it's probably, I think the idea that makes you the most money is the idea that lights you up the most and sets you on fire the most. Totally. And is probably the idea that you think probably won't make you the most money. Because in 2009, I did this little challenge for myself. I love setting myself a good challenge, but I called it Mission to Make $1 Million in 365 days. And I started a blog and I started to document this journey of making $1 million. And on day one, I set off and I set out the challenge and what I want to do, and like figuring out, can I make $1 million in a year? And although on day one, actually, I woke up and like the 2 goals I'd set myself, which was like wake up early and go to the gym and do something else, I failed on both of them. And I wrote on my blog I was too lazy. That's like a great start. But by day 65, but I didn't know it was my second to last day of blogging, but I was basically saying about how it kind of felt like really hard and I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. And I realized, and it's funny because then obviously I had that Mission to Make $1 Million challenge, failed. Day 66 was my last blog entry, and that was it. And then in 2011, I set off on my Mission for Success challenge, and that was about, how do I crack myself open and just follow my passion and condition myself for success? How do I show up and be of service and add value in this world? And so that was a completely different focus. And it was that challenge that led me to the millions, not the challenge to actually make millions. And I think that shift in mindset from when, you know, so often when we're starting a business, if you switch from thinking, how am I going to make money from this? How am I going to get to how am I going to give? That is the thing that flips the switch and helps people to like break free and create so much more success, because they show up as the true selves with their true passions, and they show up to be of service, and that is how you make money as an entrepreneur. And I think somehow along the lines, like you said, people get just confused and think that it's about figuring out how to make money, and it's a choice between happiness and abundance.
It's interesting from a manifesting standpoint too, because when you are in the mindset of get, you can't help but be attached to the outcome no matter what. You're attached. You have an expectation, and it has to be fulfilled, or you're disappointed. Where from the mindset of give, your expectation is to fulfill their needs and to make sure that they're being taken care of. And so there's no, I don't want to say selfish attachment. There's no self attachment to getting something. It's all about like, let me make sure these people are getting what they need from me and hearing the message that they need from me. And then indirectly, it's like so much more fulfilling, so much more abundant. And then, as you said, the one you're most passionate about, and in that mindset, you could be more successful beyond your wildest dreams.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. I like that you said that.
Hey there, thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to watch the extended version where you get the full podcast episode in a video format, just go to patreon.com/highvibe. The link is in the description. That's where you can become a supporter of the show, listen to all the episodes via video format, and each week you get extended versions of the show, meaning you get to see the pregame behind the scenes, and also you get an extended interview with whoever we're guesting, or if it's me and Lindsay, we usually pull cards for you guys, fun stuff like that. So go check it out. There's lots of cool goodies, including a free copy of my book, a free audio hypnosis from Lindsay. She's a hypnotherapist. And yeah, we just want to give you all the goods, all the content. So head over to patreon.com/highvibe to become a Patreon.
Or if you'd rather listen to the rest of this episode, head over to highvibeinit.com, where you'll see all the links to everywhere that it's getting streamed. Click your favorite one and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Thanks for listening.